Hello everyone, welcome to the ITLS Academy. Today's lecture is on the topic human immunodeficiency virus, means what are the nutrients we have to require in this HIV diseases. So beginning with our lecture, first topic is your introduction. So let's see, as we know, HIV, or we can say human immunodeficiency virus, is a virus that attacks the body's immune system. If HIV is not treated, it can lead to AIDS, that is the synonym of this, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. So there is currently no effective cure up to till now date. Once people get HIV, they have it for life. But with proper medical care, HIV can be controlled, and people with HIV who get effective HIV treatment can live long, healthy lives and protect their partners. So infection with HIV leads to progressive suppression of immune function, eventually rendering the body susceptible to opportunistic infection and tumor. So if you are HIV positive, or the nutrition and HIV is a subject that you will want to pay special attention to it. That's why, because your body will undergo changes both from medication and the disease itself. For example, you may experience the extreme weight loss or infection or diarrhea. Another common change is your in today's topic we'll talk about the lipodystrophy, that is the fat distribution syndrome, which can cause the body shape changes and it increases in cholesterol level. So making improvement in your diet can improve your health, and how well you feel, it will depend on the nutrition you take. So the next is your symptoms. Let's talk about the symptoms. Some people have flu-like symptoms within 2 to 4 weeks after infection, that is called the acute HIV infection, and these symptoms may last for a few days or several weeks. So possible symptoms may include your fever, you may feel chill, rashes around your body, night sweat, muscle ache, sore throat, fatigue, swollen lymph and nodes, and also there's some mouth ulcers. But some people may not feel sick during the acute HIV infection, and these symptoms do not mean that you have HIV. Other illness can cause these same symptoms too. So see a healthcare provider if you have these symptoms and think you may have been exposed to HIV. So getting tested for HIV is the only way to know about for surety that you are being infected or not. Let's see, here are the next slide is your stages of HIV. So when people with HIV don't get treatment, they typically progress through 3 stages. But HIV medicines can slow or prevent the progression of the diseases. With the advancement in the treatment, progression to stage 3 is less common today than in the early days of HIV. So the first stage comes to your acute HIV infection. In this stage, the people have a large amount of HIV in their blood, so they are very contagious. Some people may have flu-like symptoms, and this is the body's natural response to the infection. Once your body get infected by any of the foreign particles, the body show their immune response in the defense, as we can say, the defense mechanism of your body acts. So in that type of situation, you may feel like flu-like symptoms. Then, but some people may not feel sick right away or at all. If you have flu-like symptoms and think you may have been exposed to HIV, seek medical care and ask for a test to diagnose acute infection. So at this stage, only the antigen antibody test, or you can go for the nucleic acid test, you can get for the diagnosis for the acute infection. Then later on, the next stage for this is your chronic HIV infection. This is your stage 2. Now in this stage is also called as asymptomatic HIV infection or clinical latency. So HIV is still active but reproduces at very low level. Now people may not have any symptoms or get sick during this phase, and without taking HIV medicine, this period may last a decade or longer, but some may progress faster. So people can transmit HIV in this phase only, and at the end of this phase, the amount of HIV in the blood, that is called the viral load, goes up and the CD4 cell count goes down. So the person may have symptoms as the virus level increases in the body and the person moves into the stage 3. So people who take HIV medicine as prescribed may never move into the stage 3. Then last comes your third stage, that is the acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, that is known as AIDS. So this is your third stage of getting infected by the HIV virus. So the most severe phase of HIV infection, that is known as the third stage, that the person got disease known as AIDS. People with AIDS have such badly damaged immune system that they get an increasing number of severe illness called the opportunistic infections. So people receive an AIDS diagnosis when their CD4 cell count drops below 200 cells per mm, or if they develop certain opportunistic infections. People with AIDS can have a high viral load and be very infectious. So without treatment, people with AIDS typically survive about 2 to 3 years. So this is what the stage of HIV is, how the HIV infection goes from stage 1 to stage 2, and then lastly with the treatment is not proper, then you may get the disease and you may suffer from AIDS disease. So the next slide is your nutritional goal. Means once you have infected by the HIV virus, once you have get infected by your HIV virus, then you have to keep in mind what type of nutrition should be given. So for this topic, it is called as nutrition goal. The main goal of this firstly is your avoidance of nutritional deficiencies. Means nutrition and immunity are cohesively linked, and optimal intake of energy, protein and micronutrients may help in augment to your immune function. Second goal is prevention and treatment of unintentional weight loss. So due to this disease, the person may lose the weight continuously. So wasting a feature of symptomatic diseases is associated with the increased morbidity and also with the mortality. Third goal is management of complications associated with the HAART, heart. Metabolic side effects include hyperlipidemia, insulin resistance and hyperglycemia. So along with this, there is an also requirement for nutritional assessment, in which a nutritional assessment should be undertaken regularly, including the diet history, height, weight and your body mass index. In addition to this, skin fold measurement should also be there. Circumference may help to monitor body composition and shape changes. So as we know, while there is no cure, antiretroviral drugs to suppress the HIV replication have been developed nowadays. Combining the more than 3 of these agents to form highly active antiretroviral therapy, that is known as the HAART, HAAR. I was talking about this one, HAART. So this is your antiretroviral therapy, has greatly improved the clinical outcome. So along with this nutritional to balance your nutritional status during this disease is very important. The nutritional issues are diverse, reflecting the complexity of your disease and also its morphological management. So if we talk about here the avoidance of nutritional deficiencies such as diet advice should follow the guidelines of balance of good health, and the exact macronutrient required in HIV infection are known but may be higher than in the general population. So a complete daily vitamin and mineral supplement around the level of reference to your nutrient intake may be appropriate and is clearly indicated if the diet is compromised. There is also, due to this, your unintentional weight and lean tissue loss. So although the incidence and severity of waist wasting has reduced since the introduction of your antiretroviral therapy, it remains a significant clinical problem. And due to this, your weight loss, the main cause for your weight loss is your decreased nutritional intake, and also your metabolic requirement, altered metabolic requirement, malabsorption and testosterone deficiencies. Due to this, you go through the unintentional weight loss. Now next is your why nutrition and HIV/AIDS are linked. Okay, this is the most important question, that why they are linked. So if you are HIV positive, then good nutrition can have a several benefit. It can firstly improve your overall quality of life by providing the nutrient to your body needs, keep your immune system stronger so you can fight better from the diseases. It helps to manage the HIV symptoms and complications, and lastly also process medication and help to manage their side effects. So this is the reason how the nutrition and HIV are linked. Next is the basic principle of nutrition and HIV. So here are some basic principles. The basic principle of healthy eating will also serve you well if you are positive, means HIV positive. So these principles firstly includes your eating a diet that is high in vegetable, fruits and whole grain and legume. See students, the introducing fruits and vegetables is a great thing to your diet. It is very important and it will fight for so many, not a single disease but is common in all the diseases, that if you are introducing a 5 portion of fruits and vegetable in your diet, then it will be beneficial for your health. Then next principle is choose a lean and low fat source of protein. Third is limiting sweets, soft drink and foods with added sugar. And also lastly, include protein, carbohydrate and a little good fat in all the meals and snacks. So firstly, let's talk about the calories. So calories are the energy in foods that provide your body with the fuel. To maintain your lean body mass, you may need to increase the calories, and to get enough calories, you have to consume 17 calories per pound of your body weight if you have been maintaining your weight. You also have to consume 20 calories per pound if you have an opportunistic infection, and in the case you have to consume 25 calories per pound if you are losing your weight continuously. So calorie maintenance is very important. Next important is your protein. Protein helps to build up your muscles, organs and a strong immune system. And to get enough protein of your right type of protein, you have to aim for 100 to 150 grams a day if you are infected by the HIV. You should aim for I'm talking about for a man, and for ladies it should be 80 to 100 grams per day for infected HIV positive women. If you have a kidney disease, then don't get more than 15 to 20% of your calories from protein. Too much can put stress on your kidney. Also, in the case of protein, choose extra lean pork or beef, skinless chicken breast, fish and low-fat dairy products. To get extra protein, spread nut butter on the fruit, vegetables, toast. You may add cheese to sauces, soups, potatoes or steamed vegetable, and canned tuna to salad or Caesars. Next is your carbohydrate. Carbohydrate is used to give you the energy, and to get enough energy of right type of carbohydrate, you have to eat 5 to 6 servings, that is about 3 cups of fruits and vegetables each day, and choose produce with a variety of colors to get the widest range of nutrients. You should select the legumes and whole grains such as brown rice, quinoa. If you don't have a gluten sensitivity, then whole wheat flour, oats and barley may be okay. If you do stick with the brown rice or quinoa and potato as your starch source. If you are diabetic or pre-diabetic or have insulin resistance, then most of the carbohydrates should come from the vegetables. So limit simple sugar such as carbohydrate, cookies or ice cream. Next is your fat provider. So fat provides you the extra energy. In this case, for to get enough of the right kind of fat, you should include 30% of your daily calories from the fat. Get 10% of more of your daily calories from monosaturated fats. For example, you can include nuts or seeds, avocado, fish and olive oils, and get less than 10% of your daily calories from polysaturated fats, for example fish, walnut and flaxseed, corn, sunflower, soybean and safflower oils. Get less than 7% of your daily calories from saturated fats. You have to include fatty meats, poultry with skin, butter, whole milk dairy products, coconut and palm oil. Last comes your vitamins and minerals. So in the case of vitamins and minerals, it regulates your body processes. People who have HIV positive needs extra vitamin and minerals to help and repair and heal the damaged cells. Eat food of high in these vitamins and minerals, which can help to boost up your body's immune system. So in this regard, you should take the vitamin A and beta carotene, that is the dark green, yellow, orange or red vegetable and fruit, liver, whole egg milk, and vitamin B such as your meat, fish, chicken, grain, nuts, white bean, avocado, vegetables. Also opt for the vitamin C, that is the citrus fruit. Go for the vitamin E, that is green leafy vegetable, peanuts and vegetable oils. Selenium such as whole grain nuts, poultry, fish, eggs, peanut butter. And go for the zinc. I'm talking about the minerals. You should add meat, poultry, fish, beans, peanut, milk and other dairy products. So because it is difficult to get enough of all the nutrients you need from your food, your health care provider may recommend a multivitamin mineral tablets for your body for your to fight against your disease. Then next is your management of weight loss. As I told that due to this disease, HIV disease, you may go through unintentional weight loss. So treatment of underlying opportunistic infection and optimizing of antiretroviral therapy are a priority for managing your weight loss during the HIV infection. For this, the nutritional status and requirement should be accessed during the using a standard method. Firstly, you have to aim to increase energy and protein intake. For this, you can go for small frequent nutritious meal, drink snacks, or use appropriate proprietary energy and protein supplements. Symptoms such as nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and taste change and anorexia must be taken into account. And resistance exercise may help to aid accretions of lean body mass. Next is your artificial nutrition support should be considered if nutritional needs are not met orally despite interventions. You can go for the nasogastric for short-term support for the feeding purpose, percutaneous endoscopy gastrostomy, PEG for longer term of interventions, and these are the routes for enteral feeding. These I have discussed in your previous lectures. So you can also opt that method also when you are not able to take the proper nutrients orally, then go through the NEG-NG method. Now last one is your pharmacotherapy. In this, the testosterone replacement may aid lean tissue accretion in the hypogonadal men with fasting. So anabolic steroid can increase the weight and lean tissue in men with fasting, and they are associated with the hyperlipidemia, body fat loss, and possible liver disturbance, and may be best avoided in those that are high risk of your heart related metabolic complications. So the progesterone derivatives, megestrol acetate is an effective appetite stimulant. Weight gain tend to be fat rather than lean, and it is associated with the adrenal insufficiency and hyperglycemia. Next is the lipodystrophy associated heart. Your heart is, as I told, and again let me tell you, antiretroviral therapy. So lipodystrophy includes a number of morphological and metabolic complications that can be observed individually or in the combination. It can be visceral, breast or dorso-cervical fat accumulation, or lipoatrophy means loss of subcutaneous fat from the limbs or buttock and face. Also includes appears in dyslipidemia, that is elevated total low density lipoids, cholesterol and triglycerides, and high density lipoprotein cholesterol, insulin resistance and hyperglycemia. So these are the conditions where the lipodystrophy can be seen. Its clinical significance is that the body shape changes and may have an adverse physiological impact, and potentially it affects the adherence to HAART, means antiretroviral therapy. Dyslipidemia, insulin resistance and hyperglycemia may increase the risk of CVD, that is the cardiovascular diseases. Risk may further increase by your pro-inflammatory nature of the HIV. So here are some of the points to remember in the lipodystrophy. First, you have to limit your fat, especially saturated and trans fat. Secondly, choose unsaturated fats and source of omega-3 fatty acids such as salmon and tuna fish. Limit alcohol and refined sugars. Prevent insulin resistance by limiting foods that raise the glucose and insulin level, primarily the carbohydrate. Eat more fiber-rich whole grain fruit and vegetables, and here do a regular exercise. So this is the management I was talking about. These all are the points that comes under the management of your lipodystrophy. So awareness, monitoring, careful choice of heart and dietary advice may be helpful in preventing of lipodystrophy. Patient convincing the heart should undergo the cardiovascular risk assessment firstly, as I told in the previous lecture that they are at increased risk of cardiovascular. So cardiovascular assessment should be also very important before treatment. Advice based on the balance of good health and Mediterranean diet principle is recommended for this. Those with the hyperlipidemia and elevated CVD risk should receive more intensive dietary advice, that is have to go for the omega-3 fatty acids, means oily fish, rapeseed oil, olive oil, fruit, vegetables, bean, pulses should be introduced. Reduce saturated and trans fatty acids and replacement with the monosaturated fatty acids. Lastly, it was I was telling about the exercise. So exercise should be encouraged as it may benefit metabolic parameters and abdominal shape. And additional modifiable risk factors to address including your smoking and alcohols and hypertension and obesity should be limited and should be controlled. So dietary treatment of diabetes should follow the diabetes in the case of diabetes you should follow the diabetic guidelines that I told in the previous lectures of diabetes. Morphological change may be more difficult to manage the metabolic aberrations, and weight reducing advice may be helpful to reduce the visceral adiposity. Next is there are some additional dietary issues. First is your food and drug interaction. So heart regimes can be complex and involves the food restrictions. Presence or absence of food in the gut may affect the drug absorption or modify the risk of side effect. So drug prescribed change over time, and hence the importance of referring to up-to-date manufacturer's information. Next is your food and water safety. So food and waterborne infections is more common in compromised hosts. So good food hygiene and avoidance of high-risk foods are advisable. Cryptosporidium may occasionally be found in tap water supplies, and immunosuppressed patients, particularly those with CD4 count less than 200 cells per mm3, should be advised to boil the water to destroy this protein and then use it. So these are some dietary advices, additional dietary advices to get rid of the lipodystrophy. So for more information, you can log on to our website www.itlsacademy.com and register yourself. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, LinkedIn, and just do not forget to subscribe our channel ITLS Academy at YouTube. Thank you.